afternoon. My name is Martha and welcome. We are very excited to have you join us through this session. I am incredibly honored to have the opportunity to be your facilitator tonight in sharing these beautiful opportunities and beautiful stories from SAUSD alumni and their journey through the arts. So this session is a little bit of a mix of both pre-recorded and opportunities to connect. So what we have is actually 3 pre-recorded interviews with our great alumni who I will go ahead and share my screen and we will be able to walk you through. Please note that I will go ahead and type in the information that will redirect you for each alumni who we introduce. And if you have any questions, please communicate with us highly, both Elizabeth and myself. Again, my name is Marta Rivera. I am incredibly thankful that you joined us tonight and we'll go ahead and get started.
It's pretty good.
I believe we may have experienced a little bit of technical issues. I want to go ahead and confirm. Elizabeth, as my backup, can you let me know if you can hear this video?
Walter, so excited to have you here with us.
Yes, I can hear now. Great. Thank you so much. We apologize for the technical interruption. We thank you for your patience and we'll go ahead and get started again.
Hi, Walter. So excited to have you here with us at Boca de Oro. Thank you so much for being here on our alumni panel. We're excited to learn a little bit more about you. So please tell us a little bit about your background in SAUSD and where you're at now.
Sure. My background, really simple, really easy to put it. I got into the SAUSD program through high school. I'm a proud graduate of Segerstrom High School, graduated last year. I'm currently at Fresno State, and so far it's pretty good. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. So there's a whole bunch of parts that go in between and around and above and below. But yeah, no, to really answer your question, that was my involvement with SAUSD, the educational program, athletics, and here with youth art leadership, given the opportunity, kind of just vocalize, express my gratitude for it. That's really what got me here.
Yeah, and you took photography, if I recall, in high school, right? And what are you studying in college now?
Right now, I am studying GEs, but I'm leading to study MCJ, which is media, communication, and journalism. It's a really intricate, major offered over there at Fresno that really incorporates a couple of different aspects of like the arts and creativity that I really wanted to, kind of jump into right off the bat out of high school. So yeah, no, really grand opportunities coming in soon.
So exciting. And what are some of the things that you learned in your journey that informed you to make this choice to study this kind of career opportunities? And yeah, how are you prepared through your experience in SAUSD?
Meeting a lot of great people, you for one, a lot of great teachers, coaches along the way throughout my 4 years of high school, really kind of set me on the right path to figure out what I wanted to do. The lessons in the classrooms, play such a small role in terms of my development. It's really the people that I interact with and the lessons that I learned from their interactions that have really, set me up for a lot of these different opportunities. And I'm grateful for every single one. That comes from the classroom, that comes from buying the camera, that comes from the athletic field. It really just all kind of plays into, where I am right now.
Well, you mentioned too that you were an athlete as well as an artist. So could you speak a little bit about what you've learned from sports that informed you as an artist?
Sure. Taking initiative was one of the big ones. When you're on the field, the only real way to progress and to, want to get better is it really just comes from you, for lack of better terms. Practicing my craft, developing my craft. That definitely came from track. A lot of time spent just strengthening the muscle or going through the motions of trying to figure out, how to really engage myself into getting better at the sport. It ties really, really well into, my creative process. I wasn't born with the creative process, so I really need to develop the eye for a certain angle with the camera, or the way that I want to portray a message through my art via, graphic or something like that. Those type of lessons really came from the field. And I can really say that it's played a pivotal role in like my journey into, following my career.
Yeah, there's so many intersections, right? And I love that you can explain discreetly those crossovers and why it's so important to have a well-rounded education.
Absolutely.
And those creative competencies. And actually, that's my next question for you is, what does creativity is not optional? What does that mean to you?
It's in the name. I was there when you guys came up with that, when Create California came over and they went ahead and tried to establish that message with the youth. And it sits right with everything from youth arts leadership to my daily activities. Creativity is essential. It isn't optional. It's something that I use for homework assignments. I use it for my media. I use it for my workplace. Creative thinking, creative talking, creative movement. When I go to the gym, all of that stems into the fact that it isn't something that we can just push aside. And it's something that I feel like people should have access to from whenever they're available to actually try to learn it. Not having that access is actually what hurts us more than helps, because look at what happened with all the people that are on this panel here at Boca. I mean, they got that creative experience, therefore they're better for it. And I feel like that can be said for anybody that gets into it, whether it's photography, art, music, however you want to take your avenue, you got to be creative.
Yeah.
You have to.
And I think our viewers can see why you're a youth arts leader, because you're very articulate and you're able to help for those students who don't necessarily always have a voice, articulate why it's important that they have arts as part of their education. And you made that a priority. So when was the moment, by the way, that you knew you had to be an artist or that you had to pursue the arts in your life?
Pursue the arts? Like, I don't know if there was a specific moment for it. I think it was just a culmination of seeing creative work done in front of me that really pushed me to want to do it myself. I really enjoy, watching movies and commercials, believe it or not. Just creative processes as a kid, and I've enjoyed them to this point. And I felt like that's something that I really want to get behind and, see myself doing for the rest of my life, because between me and you, I'm not trying to work a day in my life. I'm trying to enjoy what I do. I'm trying to do what I love for all my days to retirement. And receive financial compensation for it. So, right. So to answer that question, no, it's been a process. It's been a nice little journey that really has set me up to fall into the position where I'm at. If you ask my 10-year-old self, I told you I was going to be an astronaut. If you ask my 12-year-old self, I told you I was going to be a NASCAR racer. Like there's so many different avenues that I kind of had been through. And so to say that, when you decide to be an artist, it's been in the blueprint for a while, because regardless of what I was going to do, it was going to be artistry to me.
Yeah.
So that was going to be my plan.
Excellent point, right? We're all pre-wired. Sometimes we take a direction of one way or another, but clearly it has to come out of everybody.
It has to.
Our creativity.
Eventually, I can't tell you when it was going to come out, but it came out a little earlier than I ever thought it'd come out. So here I am.
Yeah, we surprise ourselves. So last question before we have to wrap up our session is, how can people find you and learn more about your story? I will say that you can find stories about Walter on our SAUSD Arts YouTube channel as a youth arts leader when he was starting to tell his story and advocate for the arts. But also, Walter, how can we learn more about what you're doing and follow you?
You actually made a really good point. I forgot about that whole thing. I wasn't going to say that at all. You can most definitely find my photography pages on Facebook and on Instagram. That'll be Scott, my last name Scott, SCOTT, X Shots, spelled with a Z at the end instead of an S. Up there is where I post the majority of my content. I've been holding on to a couple of my pictures due to COVID reasons. And I'm really looking forward to, displaying those, as well as putting up some work in the nearby future, or picking up some more projects in the nearby future. So yeah, no, definitely my social media handles and the videos on SAUSD's YouTube channel, right?
Yes, absolutely. And Walter, the time with you always goes way too fast. And I just want to thank you for being here and letting our viewers get just a taste of the amazing person that you are, a human being, creative, and pursuing your education and everything. We're just excited to see you in your journey. So,
of course, Robin, thank you for having me every single time. I probably know you're tired of me by this point. I love coming over here. I love being a part of Boca. I love being a part of SAUSD. I love sharing time with you. And again, thank you for the opportunity every single time. Thank you.
Thank you. And here we have the amazing.
And I'm going to go ahead and pause. And I'm remiss, as part of a combination of both live and pre-recording, I failed to introduce who our speaker was coming in. Based again on the sharing of who the panelists are, I do want to confirm what we just heard was an interview between Walter Scott, a recent SAUSD graduate, and the amazing Robin McNair, coordinator of visual and performing arts for SAUSD. As a young graduate of SAUSD with Walter, I think I can definitely see what Robin was talking about. Elizabeth, I'm not sure, he's so energetic and so committed in sharing about his work and his passion. And it's something that I'm incredibly excited to have heard from. So now understanding that I need to provide a little bit more of an introduction. The next interview you're going to be able to see is with another SAUSD graduate. His name is Alan Pacheco. And this pre-recorded interview was done between Alan, Robin McNair, again, our coordinator of visual and performing arts, and myself, Marta Rivera. So we hope you enjoy this. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again.
Alan Pacheco, who is a graduate of Santa Ana High School. And we're so excited to have you here as one of our alumni. Thank you so much. So first, will you please just tell us about yourself? What's happening in your life right now? What have you done since you graduated 3 years ago?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on here. I always love being a part of Santa Ana USD. So I've been up to school full time. I am a third year at San Jose State studying music education. And my main instrument is jazz guitar. So that's my emphasis. And I'll be hoping to graduate a year from now and the year after that to receive my teaching credential.
So keeping in mind, Alan, where you find yourself now, we want to ask you a little bit to take you back and understand how you came to be and kind of, how you found yourself here. So if we can ask you to actually reflect on your time that you spent in SAUSD, we have a question to ask you. What skills, knowledge, and opportunities within your time in Santa Ana Unified uniquely prepared you for the world today? And especially when you think of music education, right? Can you share with us a little bit about what your music education looked like within SAUSD?
Of course. So I was a part of the jazz band. That was the first group I was in. And I was also part of a concert band, wind ensemble, and the mariachi. And I would say just the music staff at Santa Ana High School, very well oriented with anything related to music and the style that we're focusing on. Being a part of all those ensembles, we're able to gig and work with other schools and other faculty, sometimes play for faculties at their home. So I'd say being a communicator was something I definitely picked up, not only with my other classmates, but with staff and other people in the district, and just learning to either grant their wishes or, cater to whatever is asked of you. And yeah, so definitely having good role models helped me to be a better communicator.
Well, we're curious about you, Alan. At what point did you decide you wanted to be a music educator or pursue the arts as part of your life?
Well, I knew I always had a gravitation towards music because I always had the greatest time. It was always been so much fun either playing by myself or playing with other musicians. And, my first 2 years at Santa Ana High School, I wasn't even thinking of going to university, going to school. It wasn't something I was thinking about yet. And it wasn't until I built a better relationship with Victor de los Santos, and, he opened my eyes and told me, you can be a music teacher, you can, still play, but you could also teach everything that you know. And when he told me that, I was surprised because I had this mindset of when I did start thinking of college about, I'm going to engineering because that's the cool thing to do or whatever. But he told me, you could do music and, keep going with that. I'm like, I'll do that all day. Of course, I'll definitely continue to study music. So yeah, having someone like him opened my eyes to my musical journey.
Yeah, those mentors are really important in our lives. So that's a lovely story. Next question, Martha.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and keep with the reflection component of this, Alan, and understanding you as a student in high school. Now, one of the pieces we understand that was part of your experience were sports. So I think that always poses an interesting opportunity to kind of examine and look at, right, these transferable skills and how they influence one another. So if you can you please share with us, what did you learn from sports and that actually informed your practice as an artist? Are there any, could you give us 2 or 3 things that when you really think about, or is there a tangible experience that you had in sports that you see a correlation to in being an artist? We'd love to hear more about that.
So the 2 things that stand out to me is hard work and leadership. Being a part of a football team, wrestling, and track and field. And you have competition around you all the time and nothing is given to you. And, you really have to work towards changing yourself and improving yourself. And in the end, it's all, you're the person that's doing all of that. No one is going to help you. If you put your mind to it, you will definitely accomplish what you like. And I think it transfers to music with preparing for a performance. You have all these rehearsals. The first rehearsal is usually pretty shaky. Over time, you learn how to fix what you want in your performance. And, the performance is the game day. So I would say at the end of the performance, that's when you feel a little more accomplished. You can take a step back and really appreciate the growth that you had. And as far as leadership, I was able to be the captain of the football team my senior year. So it was good to be able to change from friend to, captain, but just having that confidence and really directing what you want, but knowing that it's going to get the best out of people. And I relate that to running a rehearsal and being in, small combos or larger groups. When it's only run by the students, that's when, you really have to step up. And I've had the opportunity to, lead a couple rehearsals and, just get the best out of the musicians around me. So yeah, definitely leadership and hard work.
That's beautiful. So this is something that we do in SAUSD Arts. We say creativity is not optional. And we want to know, what does that mean to you?
Well, I feel as not only musicians, but anyone related to arts, we're creating all the time. Sometimes it's, even tapping our pencil or tapping our foot or having something in our head that you're going to write down so you can remember it for later. I think that's what creativity is not optional means, because you're always aiming towards something new, something fresh, or something to work on. And for me, when I began working on my own work as a producer, my day was full of classes and other things, but it was the nighttime that I had to myself to be as creative as I want to really sit down and create something I enjoyed. And it was a long process. And over time, I developed my strengths as a producer and musician. And I was able to collaborate with the dance department at the School of Music. And yeah, it was a project between me and one of my friends. And it was just so cool getting another aspect of the arts from my end, so yeah.
Right? Your creativity has got to come out of you somewhere, and everybody is creator and creative. So that's why we really advocate and champion the arts in Santa Ana, in the school district, and in the city. It's so really important as an arts-rich city. And looking at you, we see what a product that is, and we're very excited about your continued journey.
With that, we never have enough time for these questions, and I feel like we've just skimmed a little bit of who is Alan and how he got to be here, and who you want to be, right, in this continued journey. We would be remiss if we didn't ask, how can people learn more about your story? We understand that they're joining us right now to get a little sneak peek, but we really want to create the space, Alan, for you to tell us, how can people learn more about who you are and your story?
Great place to start would be, Instagram. My handle would be _PACHEX _, so _Pachex _. And right there, I promote my music and anything I'm up to. And also Facebook, you could just search my name, Alan Pacheco. And I also have a website created for my recent project. So yeah, definitely those three things.
And I'm going to make another shameless plug here. We have done a mini documentary on Mr. Pacheco here. And so we'll be releasing that on our SAUSD Arts YouTube channel. So you can come there and hear a little bit more of his story as well, along with his mentor, Mr. De Los Santos. So we're excited about that story coming up very soon. And thank you. This has been really a delightful conversation.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you, guys.
And I'll go ahead and pause before we get to our final interview. I apologize for that small glitch. I think there's some commonalities to really note in what both Alan as our second interviewee and Walter as our first interviewee have shared. First of all, for both Walter and Alan, I think so much of the reflection is about the people that they got to meet and work with during their time in SAUSD. And also in their storytelling, there's been a correlation of practice, right? Practice, and challenging yourself with growth. And I remember, I'm not sure, Elizabeth, who's on this call with me, I don't know if you know, but I started playing instruments in 6th grade in SAUSD. And I had the privilege and honor of being guided and mentored by Mr. Vismontes. When we've heard names of individuals within SAUSD as our alumni reflect. And I think that's an incredible, powerful moment and opportunity, again, for all of us as we examine and think about the arts education that our students go through, not only in SAUSD as our community, but really around the country and the world. So much of it is about the people that inspire us and the people that challenge us. And I know for me, I learned very early on, practice makes better. I was never achieving or aiming for perfect, but I always practice for better. And I hear that in both Alan and Walter's reflections of their time in SAUSD and what they're looking forward to doing. And with Alan, he wants to be a music educator. How amazing is that his journey is now bringing him back into the arts. But again, both Walter and Alan have shared specifically about people, the power of people, and the power of their continued relationships, as we also got to see with Alan and Robin, with Walter and Robin, as they were reminiscing that this is one of the many opportunities that they have to connect. So we have our last interview coming up, and this is with Efrain Solis, and he is being interviewed by me, again, Marta Rivera. So we'll go ahead and get started. And with that, that'll be our final interview, and we'll come back for just a brief debrief or reflection at the end, okay? So I'll go ahead and share my screen. And again, I share with you now, Efrain Solis. We're joined by Efrain Solis, who's here to share with us a little bit more about himself. Efrain, it's been really nice to catch up with you for a couple of minutes. I'm very blessed and thankful that I have the opportunity to not only introduce you, but really walk with you through this interview. So we want to go ahead and get started. Can you tell us about yourself, a little bit about your background? Walk us through your SAUSD journey as you join us today. Tell us where you are now.
Thank you for having me.
I think we're experiencing some technical issues. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen. I'll go ahead and stop share. We'll go ahead and try that one more time. And Elizabeth, if you can unmute and let me know if you can see it, that would be great. So we'll go ahead and go here. And I'll go ahead and make this large screen. Elizabeth, I'll go ahead and ask if you can hear it when I click play. But really walk with you through this interview. Can you hear that?
Yes.
Yes, okay. We'll go ahead again. This is our last interview as part of this SAUSD Alumni Roundtable, and it is with Efrain Solis. Thank you. So we want to go ahead and get started. Can you tell us about yourself, a little bit about your background? Walk us through your SAUSD journey as you join us today. Tell us where you are now.
Thank you for having me. It is a pleasure to be back virtually in the SAUSD community. I grew up going to Santa Ana Unified schools all the way from elementary school at George Washington and Monte Vista Elementary, all the way to Lathrop Intermediate and to Saddleback High School. And my journey through all of that really can be kind of followed by the musical journey that I had throughout Santa Ana Unified. I was always in choir. I played the flute in elementary school, played my recorder. You know, we all hot cross buns.
Yep.
But those moments really, I still remember. I did my first musical in elementary school, Mrs. Osborne. I remember her name. She gave me my first leading role. I played the lead in Clowns, the musical.
Love it.
I know. And then I went to middle school and met the wonderful duo Jeanette McMahon and Anne-Marie Bullard in 6th grade, and continued on all the way through my senior year at Saddleback High School with them. And if I were to really kind of pinpoint a pivotal moment in my life through my education, it really would be meeting those two. They really challenged me to figure out what it was that I really wanted to do in life, which was a lot to ask of a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
But I think they, like so many teachers that I met along the way, saw the potential and refused to kind of let me settle for anything less. And when I realized that I wanted to pursue music, I remember one time I won this competition, and Jeanette looked at me and she said, "Well, that's great, but now what are you going to do?" Next day, she said, "Well, that's great, but have you peaked? You know, is that all there is?" And so really I kind of took that challenge on, and from that moment just always wanted to find the next thing that was going to challenge me artistically, emotionally. I really just wanted to be part of things that demanded my best. And it was a lot to take on as a high schooler, but it's kind of the standard that I've held myself to ever since, really.
So there's two things that kind of pop up there for me, and we can take maybe the current and then go back. But I was laughing about that story because I started playing instruments in SAUSD when I was in 6th grade. And like you, I think it was immediately, you're good, but where's the next level, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've said the word a couple of times, challenge. So where has this challenge of growing in the arts really taken you? Where are you now? And if we can then make a reflective practice, what skills do you really think and opportunities within SAUSD solidly prepared you for these challenges? Because part of it is we have great mentors, right, who we look up to, who challenge us and asked us to elevate our practice. But they also, I think, share with us in these skills and values and beliefs and again, tangible skills that we take with us as we continue growing. So could I ask you to share with us a little bit about where are you now? And if you can reflect, thinking about your career now, what are some of the skills that you actually are bringing with you as being the high school student? Like high school Efren learned these and now takes them with him to where he is now.
To me, that's something that a lot of my professors really outlined for me. I was part of the honors and AP track in high school. And I think what I really took away from all of my professors was there was no secret. They were like, here are the tools. I am giving you all the information. Everything you need is on this roadmap, this manual that we're giving you at the beginning of the year. Be it syllabus, being a reading list, be it worksheets, and whatever homework. I was saying, here are the tools to succeed. It's your job whether or not you want to use them. And really, that's what I took with me throughout my entire education and have kept with me throughout my career. It all rests in me. It all lies. The answers are it's like if I look at a score, all the information is on the page. It's my job whether or not I want to take information and absorb it and internalize it. And so that I took through my bachelor's at Chapman University, my master's at San Francisco Conservatory of Music, and then immediately when I finished, I was offered a summer internship or apprenticeship at San Francisco Opera, then was offered a 2-year contract to work with the company as a part of their Adler Fellowship. And I just took it the same way. They would assign me my roles for the year, and I took every role, whether it was a small supporting role or a cameo role or a leading role that I was understudying. I would take it on as if I was performing that role every rehearsal. And for me, it was a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. I had to sacrifice, some of my social life. I had to decide, okay, I'm going to be single for the next 3 years so that I can focus on my work. And that is a sacrifice that I'm willing to make for myself because I think the payoff will be worth it. And that is something that I took from not just my music professors at Saddleback, but a lot of the teachers that I think were kind of in cahoots. I don't know if they talked to each other in the break room. I did feel like they did. I felt like they really saw something in me and had this kind of, we're not going to let this kid kind of fall by the wayside. We're not going to let this kid do anything other than his best. Yeah. Because we know he can. And sometimes it was tough. Sometimes it would be like, so what if I got a B? And they'd be like, well, but you can get an A. We know you can. You just have to apply yourself a little more. And it's those little things that separate you from everyone else. And once I kind of took that on, really, it's been a good mindset throughout my career. I ended up being a person that went on stage the most during my fellowship to take over leading roles. By the time I finished, most people in my fellowship would be lucky to get 1 leading role, and I ended up with 3. So not to toot my own horn, but
we have to celebrate it. Let's take a moment. We have to celebrate it.
But I showed up, and the first time I remember I auditioned to take over a leading role, the artistic administrator pulled me aside and he said, I am very impressed at the work you've done and your work ethic. And from that point on, the company knew that they could trust me to take on big assignments because they knew that I would do the work. Yeah. So really, I learned a tremendous work ethic, I think, from Santa Ana Unified.
Thank you for sharing that with us, Efren, and really helping us ground and create a context to who you are and where you are now. I think one of the opportunities that we have in having this opportunity to have the conversation with you is really looking to the future. As an artist currently in the field, I know that there has been conversation of looking at the current state of the world really as a renaissance in the arts. But there has been an added level of conversation of really understanding, and I think a revaluing to some extent of arts as healing, right? And healing for the arts and really healing with the arts. Can you please talk to us about what that means for you and what your vision or what you think of in the arts in the future looks like?
Yeah, I mean, I've been up in the Bay Area working on several projects, a couple of which have been released already. And I have been blown away by the sense of community that has really erupted from these, various stay-at-home orders. I think people crave, in a lot of ways, a deeper connection. And what better way to do that than through music? I've had several friends who are music therapists, and music, I do believe, is healing. It's still my refuge in so many ways. And I think that when one day we are all back to whatever sense of normal we can get to, I think we are going to have a major resurgence of the arts, and I really look forward to it. I'm happy to be here in the Bay Area where arts they're so ingrained into the community here, and all kinds of art, Asian art, Latino art, all European art. It's a lot of it is really ingrained into the community here, and I'm really excited to see what happens.
We are too, and we're excited to look into that vision with you. Again, this is just but a snapshot of who you are and your journey, and we'd love the opportunity for people to be able to really follow up and get to learn more about you. Can you share about us? How can people learn more about your story and what you're up to?
Yeah, so I have my website, efrainsolis.com. I'm also on Instagram, where I post regularly kind of snapshots of my guinea pigs or of me kind of behind the scenes in whatever film set I'm on now, because that's my world now. My Instagram handle is solisef, all one word, SOLISEF. And I'm currently an ensemble member at Opera San Jose, so people can go to, I think it's operasj.org, and find ways of interacting with us virtually, and if you're in the Bay Area, in person.
I love it. Thank you for joining us for this conversation. It's genuinely a pleasure to reconnect with you, and we hope that, this gets shared, right, and that people get to see this and hear this and learn more. So thank you for joining us today, Efrain.
Thank you so much, Martha.
And with that, I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Again, the opportunity that we had tonight or this afternoon to come together was around the SAUSD alumni artists and creatives. I want to again thank Walter Scott, our first interviewee, Alan Pacheco, our second interviewee, and Efrain Solis, our third and last interviewee, for joining us as part of this roundtable. As I really have the opportunity to sit and digest and again reflect with all of you as I hear these interviews. Well, first of all, I've known Efrain for over a decade. We did not go to school together. Our SAUSD journey did not bring us together, but our SAUSD journey still followed us as we went into college, both at Chapman University. And I think it's very, again, powerful and important to note that we are part of a community of creatives. And sometimes, again, that creativity, or at all times that creativity, does not always reflect the arts. My journey has taken me out of the arts, but I still believe in practice that creativity is not optional. I'm glad that all of our alumni today were not only able to share with us about the skills that they were able to gain and practice during their time in SAUSD, but really helped us build a vision of what the arts can look like and what their artistic journeys have taken them to as products of SAUSD. I thank you for joining us today. Again, we hope you follow up and learn more about the stories. We really did run out of time every single time. And this particular session has actually already gone long too.